Good morning. This is Barry, the maple guy from Eagle, Idaho, our brand new nursery. And today we are going to talk about late spring and early summer uppotting. Yes, you heard it. We're going to be doing late spring and early summer. We always tell everybody on the radio and also in our podcast that we like to do all our uppotting in the wintertime, which is the best, but you can also do it in the summertime. So first thing we're going to talk about is the maple that we're going to do. This is a 1 gallon size. We're going to go from a 1 gallon to a 3 gallon. We don't want to go from a 1 gallon to 5 gallon, 1 gallon to 10 gallon. That's too big. We want to gradually work the maple up into a container. It's actually healthy for them. This one is called Radiant, and the reason why we're talking about Radiant today, this is a newer cultivar that actually the bark is striped in red veins. Absolutely gorgeous, and it's a basically a smaller, broad, shrubby maple, and beautiful fall color. It's gonna be kind of like a yellowish orange color. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do with the tree before we start is we are going to spray the container. A lot of times we'll use bleach in the water, but today, because I'm out in the nursery, we're working out here, so we like to use Lysol. It's one of our favorite products, as everybody knows. On the radio and when I'm on TV, we talk about this a lot. We spray our tools, but because today we are not cutting any roots, and let me repeat that again, we are not cutting roots in the late spring and early summer. You will damage the tree. We're going to do something very different. Okay, so we use the Lysol. We take the container, 3 gallon, and we go ahead and we just spray it. Okay, get it nice and moist in there. Okay, one thing I like about Lysol is that it'll kill 99% of all the bacteria and or anything that's in there. Okay, so next thing we do is we have the 1 gallon container. We are going to water the maple in advance. Why I do that is I want the roots moist before we do the planting, so that I'm not trying to hydrate the root ball and the soil at the same time. Okay, so we take it out of the container. I like to turn it upside down like this. I want to inspect. We do a visual inspection of the roots for a reason. I want to make sure there aren't any roots that are root bound. All the trees that we have here at Maples for All Seasons are never ever root bound. We always make sure that we uppot everything at the proper time. So you'll notice there's some really beautiful white roots in here. That tells us this tree is very healthy, and we're doing this before these roots start to wind around. Okay, so after we've sprayed the container, we have the soil mix itself. So we are using we use 3 different products in our mix. We use an acid mix, which can be a Rhododendron Azalea Camellia bag mix. Then I use a small mini bark. Okay, for a lot of us out in the western states, this is like tan bark as a kid, but this is even smaller. And then we use perlite. So we have a little bit of, you'll see a little bit of the pumice in here, so it helps aerate the roots. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the soil. We sprayed the container. It's dry. Now we're going to put in the mix. Oh, little tree problem there. We're going to go ahead and put the mix in there. I'm just going to put a little at a time and gradually work it up to the right height. So you notice I'm taking my hand, I'm just kind of packing it down really nice. Okay, we pick up the root, and we want to just set it in there first, get it nice and comfortable. And the idea of this is that we want to make sure that when we put the plant in there, it's not level. The crown, this is the crown of the tree, is not level with the top of the container. I want it to be down here, about 1 inch below, so that when you're watering with a hose or drip irrigation, if this thing fills up with water, it won't spill over. Okay, so I've got the right height. We're about 1 inch under, so I'm going to put the tree back here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure it's packed nice. I'm going to hydrate this mix ahead of time. Yes, we're going to hydrate it, so that way I'm not trying to use a lot more water. We are water conscious, especially here in the western states. We don't have a lot of water, so we want to make sure that we don't overuse it. So now that I've packed in there, I've watered it from the bottom, put the tree back in, the soil is settled, it's exactly where I want it. So then what I do is then we finish the rest of the planting. So we kind of just tuck it around there. We need a little bit more mix. You'll notice that I'm wearing some of the rubber gloves. Typically, I like those surgical gloves that you get over at Costco or whatever. You get a box of them. The idea is that you keep the slivers out of your hands, keep your hands clean. You don't know what's in the soil mix, so you want to make sure that you are protected. As I tell everybody, make sure that your tetanus shots are up to date, which is smart. So what we'll do is we'll pack it in. Okay, here's the crown of the tree right here. Pack it in nice. We're going to water it now. So the advantage by watering the root ahead of time, the root ball, is I don't have to focus in on the root ball now. Okay, I only have to water the soil. So we're going to fill it right to the top, and we are going to wait for it to drain down. And it may take a couple of seconds. We call this soil priming. Okay, soil priming. So the first water I put in is just to get the soil primed. Okay, it's going to go down. It's going to take a little bit of water here. In a 3-gallon container, even though we've got a root ball in here, we're probably going to go through about 1 gallon of water. Okay, so we've primed it. What you'll notice is no water is going through yet. Okay, so I need to add more water. The mistake everybody makes is that they think they're putting in enough water. They walk away from the tree, and the following day it starts to dehydrate. Leaves start to shrivel up, so you haven't used enough water. But you want to make sure you use enough water. Okay. As you'll notice, we've now put in about 1/2 gallon. You'll see the water just starting to come through now. Okay, we're just about have it primed. It's not enough, so I'm going to do it again one more time. I want to make sure that water is running through this container. Okay. The one thing that we do talk about in all my garden lectures, radio, and everything, we do not, and I repeat, we do not put a saucer under the maple. A lot of times I like to put little legs under there or bricks. I want to raise the maple container above the soil. I want it to drain down, so we'll put little legs under it. But we do not put a saucer. Maples do not like wet roots all the time. They like to be comfortable. A little bit of moisture in there. You can never overwater a container, but you can overwater a container if you have a saucer in. So the idea is that we want it to drain down and drain out. So that's why we can't overwater. We'll water this tree again probably in about 3 days. It's supposed to be here in Idaho today about 90 degrees. So I'll water it again in another probably 2 or 3 days. We'll give it another watering again in the morning. Now the next thing we are going to use, which is crucial for the tree and the health of the roots, is we use a product called KLN. We're one of the only few people in the industry that sell. So you can look it up on www.maplesforallseasons.com and go to our shopping cart, and you should find this on there. And this is a wonderful product. So we use, this is a 2-gallon container. So we use a 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon per gallon of water. Put it in the mixture one more time. Okay, that's what it looks like. Put it in here. That's the KLN. We mix it up. And then our final watering with it will be with the KLN. So we'll water. So this is going to help the roots start to grow. Okay? Fill it right back up to the top of the tree, or as we say, to the top of the rim here. Now what that's going to do is that's going to help the tree set new roots. If we had done this in the middle of winter, I'd be able to adjust and manipulate the roots. Because it's summer, we do not want to do that. So basically, when we take it from a summertime container or plant and we move it into another container, we do not disturb the roots, so the tree doesn't know that it's been moved. So all those little roots, those little white roots that you saw, will start to finger out. And with the KLN, within about 40 to 45 days, we should have roots set in here. And that should make the plant healthier and get us through the summertime. So that takes care of today's podcast.